Okay, let's jump right into this explainer. We are looking at the architecture of time, specifically demystifying the incredible site of Chichén Itzá. We're going to uncover how the ancient Maya quite literally built their incredibly complex understanding of time straight into massive stone structures. They didn't just build a city to live in, they built colossal, functioning instruments to track the cosmos. To really wrap our heads around their mastery of the universe, we kind of have to mentally transport ourselves deep into the vibrant Yucatan jungle. Just imagine pushing through that dense green canopy and suddenly seeing these towering ancient monuments rising up in front of you. And the crazy thing is, these aren't just ruins. They are giant clocks and calendars hiding right in plain sight. Quiche timekeeper Roberto Paz Perez hit the nail on the head when he said, there are 20 distinct Maya calendars. They are the heart of the wisdom of the Maya people. And that is exactly our starting point today. The Maya were creating these massive physical anchors for a vast interlocking system of cosmic timekeeping.
Part 1, Masters of Cosmic Time.
So, before we get to the stone pyramids, let's look at the abstract math. They didn't just have one simple calendar like we hang on our walls today. No, they tracked the sun, the moon, and Venus with such mind-blowing precision that they developed at least 20 distinct systems. Think of it like a giant set of interlocking gears. You've got the Hab, which is a 365-day solar calendar. That's 18 months of 20 days plus 5 extra days at the end. Then there's the Tzolk'in, a sacred 260-day calendar. Now, when you weave those two together, you get the calendar round, which is a 52-year cycle. And for the really epic stuff, like recording mythical events over millennia, they use the long count, a cycle spanning over 5,125 years. Absolutely incredible.
Moving right along to Part 2, the rise of Chichén Itzá.
Let's talk about how all this cosmic math translates into the physical world, right around 250 AD. The very name of the city, Chichén Itzá, translates to mouth of the well of the Itzá. And that is so important because the entire Yucatan Peninsula is basically a giant limestone shelf. It absorbs rainwater and creates these deep underground rivers and natural sinkholes called cenotes. These cenotes literally gave life to the city, and the Itzá people who ruled it were actually known as the Sabios del Agua, or water sorcerers. What's super fascinating here is that these ancient ruins actually have a very human face. By tracing the historical timeline, we can follow the real rulers of the classic terminal period. You've got Lajokchan Akab, which translates to 12 Night. He's the first recorded ruler. Then around 870 AD comes Chokwaj Ab-A, an independent ruler who freed the city from vassalage. And finally, Kaka'upakal, the supreme ruler who commissioned major public administration complexes. We're not just talking about myths here. We're talking about real politicians and real builders who turned this place into an absolute powerhouse. Which brings us to Part 3, the descent of Kukulkan. This is where things get wild. All right, this is the absolute centerpiece of their power, the Temple of Kukulkan, universally known as El Castillo. Standing right out there on the main esplanade, it is a total architectural marvel, heavily influenced by both Toltec styles from the Mexican highlands and the local Puc styles. But honestly, the true magic of this pyramid isn't in its style, it's in the maths. Okay, here is the absolute genius of the Maya. Look at the stairs on this pyramid. Each of the 4 sides has exactly 91 steps. Now, if you multiply 91 by 4, you get 364. Add the single top platform of the temple itself, and you land on exactly 365 steps. They literally built a perfect massive stone representation of the solar year. Every single day of the Hob calendar is physically accounted for in heavy stone.
But wait, it gets better. The architecture was specifically oriented and designed so that as the sun sets, light and shadow play across the northern staircase to form 7 huge triangles. It creates this jaw-dropping illusion of a massive feathered serpent slithering down the pyramid until it perfectly connects with those colossal stone serpent heads carved at the very base. It's Kukulkan himself descending to the earth.
Now let's pause for a second because we need to clear up a massive popular misconception here. Everyone always says this shadow serpent only appears on the exact spring and autumn equinoxes, right? But modern observations have proven that the shadow effect is actually visible for several weeks. The Maya were deeply practical people. This wasn't just a cool one-day party trick. It was a functional, broad signal for the agricultural cycle, essentially telling the community, hey, it's time to prep the fields for the upcoming rains. And just to further prove how actually, scratch that, cosmically significant this pyramid is, modern science has recently peeled back another layer. In 1997, ground-penetrating radar picked up a huge anomaly right under El Castillo. By 2015, MRI technology confirmed it. There is a massive hidden cenote about 8 meters directly beneath the pyramid. And in 2017, expeditions proved the entrance was intentionally sealed off with stones. So they purposely built their greatest monument to time directly over this hidden, watery underworld. It literally made the temple the absolute center of their universe.
Part 4. Secrets of the Sacred Cenote.
Speaking of those underground waters, let's pivot away from the towering pyramids and head into the dark, watery depths of their most vital pilgrimage site. People traveled from as far away as Central America to reach this spot. But for decades, we had a very specific, kind of Hollywood idea of what and who actually went into these waters. The reality? It is way darker than the legend suggests. A 20th century American diplomat named Edward Thompson dredged the cenote and popularized this sensationalized myth about beautiful sacrificed maidens. But recent DNA and osteoarchaeological testing tells a completely different story. Roughly 80% of the human remains down there actually belong to children. Yeah, half of them were between the ages of 3 and 6, often dressed as the divine hero twins to reenact sacred creation myths for the rain gods. These ceremonies were so frequent and so heavily ritualized over the centuries that the sheer volume of offerings physically changed the environment. If you go to the bottom of that cenote today, there is a thick layer of silt entirely dyed Maya blue. That specific, vibrant pigment represented the ultimate color of the sacred in their cosmovision, permanently marking those depths as a divine space.
Part 5. Discoveries in the Modern Era.
Let's fast forward to right now, because this ancient city is still actively rewriting its own history. The jungle is far from finished giving up its secrets. Just look at these breakthroughs from late 2023. Archaeologists uncovered a 90-centimeter-tall Atlantean sculpture from the classic terminal period, still fully adorned with jade beads and armlets, which directly links Chichén Itzá to central Mexican cultures. Oh, and on November 9th, 2023, they found a perfectly preserved sculpted warrior face right inside the Casa Colorada temple. These continuous discoveries, which are heavily supported by the National Institute of Anthropology and History, are doing something really profound. They're creating a tangible, living bridge between the modern Maya people and their ancient ancestors. With new infrastructure housing these amazing artifacts, the history of the site isn't just stuck in the past, it is alive and constantly evolving. So, I'll leave you with this one final thought to ponder today. If an entirely functional 365-day calendar could be hiding in plain sight as a massive pyramid, and if sacred cenotes can sit completely undetected beneath tons of solid limestone for centuries, what other monumental truths about time, space, and the cosmos are still waiting silently in the stone at Chichén Itzá? Thanks for hanging out with me for this explainer. Keep your curiosity alive because, as you can see, the past is still very much being discovered.